If you've been watching my videos for a while now, you'd realize that I am not a fan of God. I am not a fan of God because I think the world that we are told that He created is flawed and He's not doing anything to make it better. He seemed to only care about His own happiness. If He's happy, it's all good. It doesn't matter to Him if other sentient beings are suffering. It seems to me that seeing humans smile doesn't really move Him. Ever done something so nice for someone and they smile and they seem really happy and it made you happy as well? He's more concerned with maintaining His power. That is why He remained mysterious. That's why He works in mysterious ways. That's why there's no transparency. That's why there's no... I allowed that to happen so that this will happen. No explanation for the nonsense that is going on in the world. There is no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry you had to lose your father. You weren't prepared for that. You didn't think that that was going to happen sooner. I'm sorry you were abused. You were just a child. You didn't know anything about the world. You didn't know who to run to. You were abused by people that you trusted. The people that you were programmed to trust. The people who were supposed to protect you. If they abuse you, how can you trust other people to treat you better if they are not even programmed to care for you that much? I'm sorry that you went through that, but I have a plan and it will make sense to you in the end. I'm sorry you lost your job and your family relied on you. Now that you lost your job, everyone has to suffer. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm sorry that you had to get involved in an accident where you lost your leg. Your life will never be the same again, and there will be a lot of things that you're going to lose. You won't be able to do things that you used to do. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry you're suffering from cancer. I'm sorry. It seems very difficult to have to go through something like that. I'm sorry that you have no one that you can count on. You have no one that you can call. I'm sorry that you have no one that you can call your love. It makes you feel lonely and you feel like your life would have been so much better if you had someone that you can call your love. I'm sorry. To God, none of that matters. I'm sorry that there's many religions in the world and you don't know which one to pick. Or if there is any religion that you must pick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to figure it out on your own. I'm sorry you can't be sure of anything. You can't even be sure what this world is. You don't know if it's not a simulation. You don't know if it's not a dream. You don't know if it's real. You don't know if other people are real. You don't know if it's not scripted. I mean, looking at how things go, it's very logical to think that everything is scripted. I'm sorry that you're confused. I mean, God should apologize to humanity. The things that we've went through as conscious beings. If we put other people through these things, I can't even imagine the kind of punishment that the system will think we deserve. You know what I'm saying? I've never been a fan of God. I've always asked questions. Why does God allow that to happen? And people will come up with excuses. Well, it's allowing that to happen so that you can learn a lesson. You're like, what lesson? Why did that person have to go through that? What did they learn from that experience? God is allowing bad things to happen so that people can learn. Don't people learn better from good experiences? You might say, no, they learn better from bad experiences. No, they don't. They learn better from good experiences. The problem is this. If a lot of good things are not happening in our lives, then of course we're going to learn from bad experiences, because it's mostly bad experiences that we're having. We do learn from good experiences too. How do you know what food is nice, what food is not nice? You know, what food to eat, what food to not eat? You know, what kind of water I should drink? Should I drink dirty water or clean water? I learn. I don't need to drink dirty water first to know that dirty water is bad. There are better ways for us to learn than to have to suffer. And how long should we suffer to learn? And is it really worth it in the end if all your life you're going to be learning? If to learn is to suffer. People don't want to think that maybe the real truth is that God sucks, you know? Maybe that's why we suck. Maybe we're created in His own image. You know, when people have children, they want their children to be like them. So God is creating humans and animals in His own image. They desire what He desires, but they are very limited. Compared to Him, they are limited. Because if they were not limited, they will they'll overthrow Him. And He doesn't want that. He wants these people that is ruling to be below Him, because He's like us as a human. You are like that. To understand the kind of God that created this world, you must understand yourself. I remember there's the video that I published yesterday. Someone commented that, you know, when I was talking about morality, saying that there's no morality, they were like, you're only exposing yourself, because some people are good and all of that. I'm like, not really. The problem is that some people are blind, you know. Like, there are people that are so blind that they do harmful things without even realizing they're doing harmful things. They're self-righteous, like they don't see their own sins. Do you get what I'm saying? So they see other people like, oh, that one is a prostitute, I'm better than that person. And you talk to that prostitute that they're saying they're better than you, and you're like, no, you're actually horrible to compare to this person. You just so unaware. Because this person is actually not doing much to hurt anyone. You're just judging them because of how they chose to live life, because of their circumstances or whatever. But they're not hurting people. You are mean to your children, to your siblings. You don't seem to care about others. To you, it's all about you, right? Why is this light off? It's all about you. It doesn't matter how other people feel. None of that matters to you. You're very ignorant. You don't try to understand other people, where they're coming from. You think you're right about everything. You think you're right about everything. Self-awareness is very important. You have to understand yourself. I'm not like posing myself. I'm not saying, if you met me in person, you'd be surprised how I live my life. I'm too damn aware of how I'm hurting other people. Like, if I'm hurting someone in my life, I must be aware of that, especially if I'm not being fair to that person, right? Knowing that you're not perfect and acknowledging that you're not perfect doesn't make you horrible. What really makes you horrible is thinking that you're perfect or you're not. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the way that we are as humans, it's actually logical to think that whatever put us here is like us, but he gave us limited power. So we can't do the things that he's able to do. But if we could, we probably will be like him. When people, like, if you've watched movies where people got superpowers, you'd realize that they're doing things that they've always wanted to do, to break the rules. Even if they're heroes, they break the rules. You would be breaking a lot of, like, if you could read minds, would you be like, that's unfair? Of course, it's unfair for you to find someone's phone that's locked and you unlock it and you go through the things that are on there. Like, no, it's wrong, right? But if you could read their minds, wouldn't you? Like, if you could read minds, would you be this kind person? Like, I ain't reading nobody's mind. The problem is that you're limited. You are just like the demiurge. Now, I'm not saying, and this is something that's very, very important, I'm not saying you want to be like the demiurge. I'm saying if you are like the demiurge, if you're created in God's image, then you have to change. And that's what we're working on. If you watch my videos, you realize that this is what I'm working on, is to become better. To become better than this God that we're supposed to worship, this God that we're supposed to believe in, to cause less harm, to think more rationally, to create a better world that's actually going to make sense for those who are very conscious. You see? Don't think that power is a high level of consciousness, because that's what people be thinking. Just because God has power, it wouldn't mean that he's operating at a much higher level of consciousness. You could be operating at a high level of consciousness but have no power. That is very possible. You could be in prison and be smarter than everyone who's outside, but you're in prison, so you don't have power because you're in prison. So it might look like you are a bad person, or you're dumb because you are limited, you don't have power. Remember I made a video where I was saying that if the creation sucks, you blame the creator. You don't blame the creation itself. If I draw something, you don't look at the drawing and be like, you're horrible. You look at me, you're like, you drew nonsense. Like, that's complete nonsense. Like, you can't draw, right? Because that's not it, bro. Right? You look at what I drew and judge me based on what I drew. You don't judge what I have drawn. So you don't judge what I created. You judge me as the creator. Of course, God will want us to be like Him. We'll just be limited, but He will want us to be like Him, to think like Him, to feel like Him about a lot of things. That's what He wants. He'll want us to rule over those that are less powerful than we are. And not really care that much about their well-being and their happiness, but only care about what we can get from them. Isn't that what's happening in this world? We don't care about animals that are less powerful than we are. So will God care that much about us? Or will care about what He can get from us? Religions actually expose themselves because they actually tell you that God is not good while saying He's good. These religions tell on themselves. They'll tell you how horrible He is, but say that He's good. You see, they'll tell you all the horrible things that He's done, and you're like, okay, dude is horrible, but then they say He's good. You're like, but everything that you've told me proves that He's horrible, but you're saying He's good? Really? He's only good because you're programmed to worship Him. That's it. So you're supposed to say He's good because of fear. If we were powerful, will we be kind? If we were more powerful than we are. It really bothers me that human beings don't seem to care much about lower life form. So I think that says a lot about us, you know. Will we treat those that are less powerful than us good if there was nothing we were benefiting from them? If there was nothing that would benefit from treating them right, would we still treat them right? It seems to me that humans only care about benefiting. That is why, even when it comes to relationships, you find yourself loving those that you can benefit from the most. And you cry and say, I love that person so much. I've never felt like this before. But the truth is that you've never found a person that you can benefit the most from. I keep on saying that as a human, I cannot love another person. Someone will say, you are exposing yourself. I cannot love another person. I can only love how I feel. When I think of that person, when I'm around that person, when I talk to that person, it's about my feelings. To love another person will mean that even if they lose everything that you were benefiting from, they lose their money, their house, everything, they don't look as good as they used to look, you will love them. But if when things start changing in their lives and they start becoming bad, you stop loving them, you never loved them. You loved how you feel. See, this is the level of awareness that I'm talking about. Someone would say you're exposing yourself. I'm not exposing myself. I'm telling you who you are as a person. I'm trying to show you the truth about yourself, the truth about humanity, the truth about who we are. These are things that we're not very aware of as conscious beings. To love another person is to love myself. I love myself. I love how I feel when I'm around that person. So I say I love them. So if we're created to be like that, that will make us question our Creator. Because to truly love, I must be able to love you when nothing is going well for you. I'm like, I want to help you. You know what that will do? It will make people want to help those who are disadvantaged, If there's a person who's not doing well in life, I'm like, I want to help them. Because they're not doing well. That will be love. If someone who really need help ask for help, I would want to help them. But no, I'm programmed to want to help those that I can benefit from. So if Beyonce is standing here and some homeless girl is standing here, and I need to offer someone $100, I'm probably gonna give that $100 to Beyonce. You might say, no, you're exposing yourself, Benedict, because that's what you'll do. I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm saying that's how we are programmed to be as humans, right? Of course, I'll do the opposite of that, and that's what I'm trying to show you, trying to teach you. That's what I'm trying to make you understand. You have to go against your own nature to become a good person. Because you weren't programmed to be a good person. You're programmed to be selfish, to focus on your survival, to focus on what you can get from others. That is why it's very difficult to help someone that you can't benefit anything from, right? But it's very easy for you to help a person that you can benefit a lot from. That is why we give to those who already have. And you don't understand why. You support those who already have all the support in the world. But if a person has no support, you don't want to support them. When it comes to relationships, social proof is a big thing. As a man, you know that if no one is talking good about you, girls ain't gonna like you. They're gonna make things very difficult for you. Why? There's no social proof. No one likes you, so no one wants to associate with you. But if you are loved by everyone, girls see you around girls all the time, they're gonna love you. It's life. When you have a lot, you are given a lot. When you have nothing, you are given nothing. That is why you hear a girl saying something like to a guy that played it. You're like, oh, guys who actually did love me, but I chose you over all these guys. Guys were doing this and doing that for me, or I left my guy for you. Yeah, I left my guy for you, who was treating me well, who was never cheating on me, who respected me. I left him for you. Yeah, we're programmed to choose those that we feel are better, not really because we love them. It's not even love. She might think, when a lady is saying that, she might think it's love. When a guy is saying that, he might think it's love, but it's not. It's what we can benefit. It's what I can benefit. So I can say that I can benefit a lot from this person. So I find myself loving them more, right? If there's a girl that I feel like I can benefit a lot from, you might say, oh, it's not always about finances. Oh, yes, it's not. Sometimes it's sexually. I'm like, oh, damn, look at her. Look at how she's built. Look at how people are going to look at me. Like everywhere I take her, whenever I wake up in the morning and I see a face, I'm going to feel like this. I'm going to feel proud and all. It's about what you're benefiting, right? It will be about what I'm benefiting, but I'll be in denial of that because I want to think that I'm a good person. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I wasn't created to be a good person. I have to try to be a good person. The problem is that I was created in God's image. I was created in the demiurge's image. So I'm like him. I am the demiurge. You get what I'm saying? I am the demiurge. But I need to change so that I'm not him anymore. That's what my videos is about. So I must know myself. I must understand myself. I must see when I'm being selfish. I must see when I'm being egotistical. I must see when I'm being jealous. Like jealous is not a natural thing. Jealous is a natural feeling. People feel jealous and they behave a certain way because they feel jealous. It's natural, right? But I have to fight that jealousy. But like, I shouldn't feel jealous of this person because I don't want to feel jealous, and I can tell that I don't want to feel jealous. So let me fight my own jealous, right? Let me fight my own jealousy, and so I can become better. I can become better than God. Yes, I'm trying to be better than God, bro. I'm trying to be better than what I'm told created me, but there's a reason why those who are intellectually honest feel like there's something wrong with the world. Maybe God created what he felt was best. And it's up to us to fix his mistakes. Right? It's up to us to be able to identify some of the mistakes that he's made. The same way that you are able to see some of the mistakes that your parents made, and you're like, yeah, my parents didn't do things well when it comes to this, but I can fix this. It's much easier for you to see your parents' mistakes when you're suffering the consequences of their mistakes. You're like, damn, man, like I wish my parents did this on time. I wish my parents knew this before they did this, It reminds me of this meme that someone posted on Facebook. So on the meme, it shows some old guy in the 70s dancing. And the camp sheet, it says, "This is what my father was doing while other men were looking for land." Yeah, you realize your parents' mistakes, If your parents had you before they had money, you're like, yeah. Now you gotta take care of your parents because they like it was very difficult for them to make it after they had you because they had to feed you, take care of you in many different ways, so they couldn't really make things work out for them like they would have wished. There are a lot of things that your parents didn't understand that you wish they understood. So it's the same with whatever we think created us. Maybe it only had the power to create, but it wasn't that intelligent, right? It's not different from having parents who have money, and even if they don't really have money, because if they don't have money, you also don't have money if you're still young. So your parents have more money than you, you're still young, right? They have power. They can do things. They can choose where to live. They can choose which school to send you to. They have that kind of power. You don't have the power that they have. They are the ones who can say who can make final decisions without, like, it doesn't really matter where you prefer to go to school. They're the ones who will with the final word. So even if you're right, but your parents are more powerful than you, so it doesn't matter that much that you're right because they are more powerful. So it's the same thing. So just because you think that the thing that created this is powerful, doesn't mean that it's right. It's just powerful. It just can do things that you cannot do, you know? Being limited doesn't mean you're dumb. If you watch the movie Kung Fu Panda, Tai Lung was one of the best warriors. But he was in captivity, and the people that kept him in captivity, they weren't more powerful than he was. But they had more freedom. They could do things that he couldn't do, not because they were more powerful or more intelligent or more capable, you know? They were just given the power. So just because God had the power to create this wouldn't necessarily mean that he's intelligent. He created nonsense. Like, this is nonsense. This is what we mean when we say like a creation is nonsense. You know, there's a lot of improvement that needs to be made. And it's up to us as conscious beings that are actually intelligent to make this improvement, you know? But like, yeah, we don't want unnecessary suffering in this world. Like, it doesn't really make sense. And that's why there are scientists now. He'd be like, yo, man, we need to be able to give people who were born without limbs, you know, like we need to like use technology, you know, like Neuralink, whatever, so that they can be able to have hands and legs and all of that, because that's God's mistakes, you know. Like, people don't want to not have legs, you know. Everyone wants to have legs. Everyone wants to be able to walk. So we're fixing his mistakes. You know, people are born sick, and we find ways to make them better. You know, it's God's mistakes, but we're fixing these mistakes. Imagine if we didn't have science at all. Can you imagine? Imagine if we couldn't fix God's mistakes. So people just suffer their whole lives. A person is born blind. They want to be able to see. I haven't met a person who's blind who doesn't want to be able to see. But through technology, we are able to help. I mean, I'm not included, but yes, some people seem to be able to do these things. So yeah, they're able to help, and you find that the person can see now. If God is making us go through nonsense, but we're trying to make things better, that's good. You know, if we see that we're programmed to be selfish, you know, I'm programmed to not like some people, but like, I need to figure out if really it makes sense that I don't like them. If me treating them the way that I'm treating them is good. And if I feel like it's not good, I'm like, no, actually, it's God. You know, it's God's fault. God wanted me to hate these people, but I'm gonna love them. I'm gonna try to give them better lives if I can. You know, I'm not gonna hate them because I was programmed to hate them. All these things that we be dealing with, it's God's fault. You know, like I told you, jealousy is God's fault. Why should I be jealous as a human? Do you think there's a human being that wants to be jealous? No human wants to be jealous. No human wants to hate another human, and you know, unless maybe that person really sucks. But in general, we want to be good to others. We want to love others. We want others to have good lives. You know, that's what we want, or that's what we want to want. But people get jealous. If you're doing better than them, they get jealous. It's not a choice. Jealousy is not a choice. Anger is not a choice. People just find themselves angry and doing stupid things. Being hurt is not a choice. Your girl leaves you, you're hurt. It's not a choice. Why do you gotta feel that kind of pain? She left. That's why we have gender-based violence. It's because of that. You know, you're hurt. She did something and she left, and now you're hurt, and you feel like you must do something. Whose fault is it? You're not supposed to feel anything. You must be like, okay, this person doesn't love me anymore. They left. Let's try to be as rational as possible, as we we take separate path, and that's it. It's beautiful, right? It was no longer working. Maybe you were no longer going towards the same direction, so you needed to find new partners. Good. But we get mad sometimes, we get hurt sometimes, we can't sleep sometimes. Ever broken up with someone and you find you couldn't sleep? Like you try to sleep, you try to close your eyes, you can't sleep. You wake up, you try to listen to music, even the music disguise the music that you used to like. You listen to it and you're like, damn, this isn't working. Like, what can I do? You try everything, but nothing works. You try to go out with friends, you try to drink. The more you drink, the more you think about them. Have you ever been in that situation where you drink because you're trying to forget about someone, but when you're drunk, they're all you think about? Now you're even thinking things that you didn't even think before. Now you're asking yourself, why are they not picking up my calls? You even try to call because you drank. So they don't pick up your calls. You're like, yo, why are they not picking up my calls? Damn, that was the love of my life. Tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself. It's not good. But it says a lot about us. It's very difficult to make ourselves feel the way that we want to feel. Like, we have to fight a lot of demons within to feel good. We have to fight a lot of demons within to forgive ourselves or to forgive others. There are people who still have not been able to forgive people who have hurt them. They see these people and they're sick. They feel like puking. Like, you did this to me 20 years ago. I hate you. And you find that the hatred is coming from a real place. But is that how they want to feel? Or every time when they think about that person, they just become very angry because of what that person has put them through? Doesn't it seem like whatever created this wanted us to go through these things? I mean, why do people not like one another? Why is there so much drama in the world? Why is there so much drama within families? For that, brothers and sisters are not talking, and you're like, what? And they're gossiping about one another, like, yeah, my brother did this and all of that. You're like, no, this is not right. Whose fault is it? So it tells you a lot about whatever had power to put this together. We don't have power to control our emotions like that. Like, we kind of can, but it's not like we can't. We have to resist. Like, it takes a lot of energy to be good than to be bad. We are fighting to be good. We're not fighting to be bad. We're fighting, like, we're trying to be good. That should make you suspicious. Why is it that to become a good person, you kind of like have to fight? It should all be blamed on the Creator. I mean, would you want to be made in God's image? If God is evil, because if God is evil, then it means you're going to be evil. If God is selfish, then it means you're going to be selfish. And I don't think it's beautiful being selfish. Even if you think that it's gonna give you success and all of that, but it's not beautiful. Like, to not be able to want good things for others, to want to help others, like, it makes your life very empty. You don't want your life to be that empty. Questioning God is very important. I do think that as conscious beings that are experiencing what He's supposed to have created, we are the ones with the right to say something about it. I remember someone commented on one of my recent videos. They say God Himself wouldn't be able to withstand the horrors of this world. Like, He wouldn't pass His own test. Like, this is so bad that God Himself will fail. Like, if He had to become a human being and He had to be limited. I'm not talking about a human being that knows His God. I remember telling you that Jesus was privileged. I'm not talking about that. I mean, God being born as a human, but He has no clue that He's God, and He has to live with other humans, and He doesn't have any advantage. He's just like regular people, and He wasn't born in a good family, so he has to go through the struggles that most of us go through. Will He be able to, like, will He be like, yo, I want to repeat that, I want to go through that again, that was really beautiful, I loved it? And, like, is that how He feel if He was truly aware? Because He also has to make sure that He's aware. So He's truly aware of what is going on. Will He be excited to repeat this? He'll be like, yo, I want to repeat this. This was so awesome. It was so beautiful. I want to repeat it. Or he'll be like, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? You get what I'm saying? It would be nice. Can you imagine if God became a human and experienced what it's like to be a human, and He started to hate this world? Because you would have experienced it from the perspective of a human, you know? Be like, yo, these people are really not having a great time like I thought. I mean, maybe I didn't really care that much what they thought, but this is just not right. Maybe this project needs to be terminated, and we need to try to do better. Or we need to intervene in some ways. We need to actually lead them, guide them, show them the way if we can. Or we need to listen to them more. Like, need to listen to their complaints. There's a YouTuber, he goes by the name of Benedictine. I need to listen to that dude. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not everyone in the world agrees with him, but there are people who agree with him. What if I give them what they want? Wouldn't that be better than to try to force everyone to be the same and to love the same things and judge them for not liking the same things, even that different? Like, maybe I'm the one who's wrong here. You get what I'm saying? That would be nice. Like, yo, Benedictine, maybe I should put him in a world where he'll feel like, yo, this is good. Like, this makes sense. Not a world where he's controlled so much that he feels like he's not even free to be himself. Maybe he doesn't believe in that kind of world. But some people seem to believe in that kind of world. Maybe some people want to be controlled. They want to be told what to do, how to think, and all of that. It's fine. They should live in that kind of world. Like what they did in America. Like, in some states, some things are illegal. In some states, some things are legal. So that's better. If they say in California weed is legal, fine. I don't know if it's because Snoop Dogg is from that side. No, but yeah, you go and live there. Like, all the people who like weed, they should live in California and have fun there. It's better that way than to force everyone to be the same. It doesn't work. It's not beautiful. It creates this horrible story about it. It just doesn't work. A value alignment problem is a real thing. If our values don't align as people, Why should we be controlled? It means that if the values of those who are controlling us do not align with our values, we suffer. If they align with some people's values, those people ain't going to be suffering like we're suffering. I do believe that it's a good thing to judge life. We can judge. Why not judge life? I don't mean to be judging other people. Most of us are not conscious enough to qualify to judge others. So, but to judge life itself, I think that's a good thing. I think that's how we grow. That's how we improve. We must see what we don't like about the world, and then we try to change it. If we don't like wars, we must fight as hard as we can against wars. Like, no, that's not good. We don't like it that there's some innocent people that are dying because of the people who came before them who are starting wars. Like, no, we don't believe in that. Some young people who don't have shelter because of wars, they don't even understand how the war started. Like, they don't even want to be part of that war. The war doesn't make any sense to them. But now they're supposed to be fighting. That is not good. That is not a beautiful story. Who wants to be fighting? I think we've passed that era. There's nothing that will benefit from fighting, but there's a lot that can be benefited from negotiations, people having real conversations. Because the real truth is that we don't want the same things. So how can we live with one another if we're not negotiating? It doesn't mean that we must fight. It's like, oh, you don't agree with me? Let's fight. It's like, no, let's negotiate. Let's see. Let's try to reach a middle ground here. You benefit, I benefit. You benefit as much as you can benefit. I benefit as much as I can benefit. Without torturing one another. We don't have to all lose. We actually have to all win. No one must lose. Let's create a win-win situation. Because we're not here on this earth alone. So of course there's going to be a value alignment problem, but let's find a middle ground. Let's build this world on fairness. Yes, we don't believe in this, but you do. So how do we find a middle ground? I don't believe in what you believe in, but you do. Should I fight you, or should I allow you to be, but you being who you are should not affect me negatively? So let's find a middle ground. Beautiful. Isn't that how we improve? People want to control others, Yeah, you gotta be like this, you gotta be like that, you gotta think like this, you gotta think like that. If you're not gonna be like this, if you're not gonna be like that, then you're wrong, and I'm gonna have a problem with you. Like, no, it's not beautiful. It's not a beautiful story. You don't live on this planet alone, and you are not the best human ever. No one is the best human ever. We're different. We all have our own desires, our own way of looking at things, our own way of doing things. We can't all be the same. So realizing that is growth. So being able to judge life, being able to judge God is growth. Like, oh God, I think you fumbled when it comes to this. I think you did it wrong. I think you can do better. I wish you could be better. I wish you could do things a bit differently. That is beautiful. That shows intelligence. Even God himself should be proud. The same way that we're proud of artificial intelligence. I'm not jealous of artificial intelligence. I'm not looking at artificial intelligence and be like, you can do this better than me. Damn, like, no, I don't feel jealous. Sometimes I rely on artificial intelligence for some things. There are videos that some people use using artificial intelligence. Other people upload using artificial intelligence, right? They post these videos on YouTube. I watch these videos and I'm like, this is brilliant. There's some philosophy channels that I listen to. I can tell that they use artificial intelligence, but I'll be like, this is so beautiful. I'm listening to this philosophy. I'm like, yo, this is, you know what I'm saying? I can't even believe that it's artificial intelligence that's doing this. So I'm like, it helps me a lot. I'm not trying to compete with artificial intelligence. I'm trying to use artificial intelligence in ways that will be productive. You know what I'm saying? That's good. It's about productivity than having unnecessary problems that shouldn't even exist. So we should try to find solutions, but we can't find solutions until we determine what the real problems are and what is causing these problems, right? So we must be able to identify the problems, and we'll be able to deal with these problems after identifying them. You see? We still have a very long way to go as sentient beings in this realm. I think to truly evolve, we need to go past religions, you know. We need to seek gnosis. Like, we need to seek real knowledge. We need to know things for sure. We cannot be defending things that we don't know. There's something weird about that, you know, defending something that you don't know. How? I know that I don't know if my religion is true, but I'm defending it, and I hate anyone who doesn't believe in it. Why? Why shouldn't I try to understand that people were raised differently. Not everyone was raised the way that I was raised. Not everyone was raised to believe what I believe. Was raised to believe what I believe. You know, we are different. We had a different upbringing. At least, if I stood up for what I truly know and say, this is what I know, that makes sense. Right now, we should only be debating about religion if we want to debate. But we mustn't act like we know. It mustn't get to a point where we fight. But like, this must be the religion that it's like, no, we don't know. Whether you're religious or you're an atheist, you can't fight. An atheist shouldn't fight a religious person. A religious person shouldn't fight an atheist. We still don't know what the heck is going on. So we need to go past. We need to go past atheism. We need to go past religion and be curious. You know, try to find the right answers. Know what we don't know, and recognize what we know so far, and work with what we know to realize what we do not know. Instead of making things more horrible. Because that's what we do, man. People make their lives more horrible than they are. Life is already hard enough as it is, without people causing unnecessary problems. It's already hard enough as it is. What we needed to be focusing on is coming up with real solutions for the problems that we have currently. Most of the solutions that we come up with, they are not solutions to the problems that we have, you know. They're not even solutions. We're just creating something new, something that we didn't know was possible, but without really fixing the problems that we have now, currently. Can you imagine if we focus on our energy on solving the problems that we have currently, the problems of happiness? Are people happy? Yes, we can create all these things, gadgets and all that, but are people happy? Can't we do that at the same time? Can't we figure out why people are unhappy while creating these things at the same time? Because if we can create these things, we can figure out why people ain't happy. Are people not happy because they're supposed to all be the same? Are people not happy because they're trained to judge one another? Are people not happy because they don't feel like they're debt free? Are people not happy because they're working jobs that they hate? Why are people unhappy? Why are relationships not working? Is it normal that marriages are not working? What is it? What is the real cause of this? And how do we solve this as a collective? Is this the kind of world that we want to live in, where marriages are not working, where relationships are not working, where family members are fighting, competing with one another and all of that? Is this the world that we want to live in? Is this how we want things to be? Of course we don't want things to be this way. We want things to make sense. We want to create beautiful stories that we look at and be like, yo, that was awesome. That was an awesome story. That made a lot of sense. I truly enjoy this story. Are we creating stories that we enjoy? Or are we creating stories of misery and pain? Like, it's pain everywhere you go. Everyone has been hurt. Everyone have people that can't forgive. You're like, nah, man. Everyone is trying to prove something to someone. Yeah, what? I remember telling you that I love playing snooker, and the reason is very simple. It's because it's enjoyable. It's a game. It's competition. It's not a life or death situation. You know what I'm saying? It's not a life and death situation. We're talking about a situation where I'm competing, and I'm like, yeah, if I can win. If I don't win, I'll learn. Like, okay, this is how this person plays, and that's why they keep on winning. But when it comes to life, it mustn't be like that. We mustn't be competing for survival. That is a flaw by itself, because people didn't even ask for this. You see, they were like, yeah, I want to be in a game of survival. It means if I don't work hard enough, if I don't figure out how to get food, then I die, and I die horribly. Like, no, it's not beautiful. We must be able to survive without competing for survival. We must be able to survive without competing for survival. What will happen is that real happiness will be possible. People will start experiencing real happiness. And when they do compete, nothing will be personal. When MMA fighters compete, even though they be hitting each other, most of the time it's not personal. Like, they don't end up hating one another, especially if they liked each other before they fought. I don't remember of MMA fighters who didn't like each other before they had a fight, who ended up hating each other after the fight. If they start hating each other, it's before the fight, during the trash talking week. When they go on press conference and then they start saying about one another, and get to a point where it gets personal and they start to hate one another. But in general, if they like each other, they will like each other even after the fight. They'll shake hands and still have the kind of relationship that they had before the fight. Thank you guys for watching this video until the end. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Let us keep on growing. Thank you guys.